Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us in our webinar on the latest feature that we're excited to show you. So as we know, today, most of the applications support multiple applications, platforms, and devices, and it is natural that there are user workflows where the devices need to be switched. And because there are so many workflows in the real world, these need to be tested too. But till date, the automation for such scenarios has been tough. So Testsigma has come up with some feature to simplify the automation of such workflows. And today we are here to see why and how we do it. So we have Divesh Mehta, who is the product manager of Testsigma, who will take you through it. And if you have any questions, you can type it in the Q&A section, or you can raise your hand and the speaker can take your questions. Over to you, Divesh. If you want, you can turn on your camera also.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Devesh Mehta. A quick introduction. I'm the senior product manager at Testsigma, and I've been in product management for a while. I've worked across CleverType browser stack before, and I am an engineer just like most of you by vocation. Today, we'll go through the end-to-end user journey testing, what it is and how you can kind of achieve it using Testsigma. So I'll just start sharing my screen. If someone could confirm that my screen is visible. I'll just move it to slideshow mode.
Yes.
Visible? All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's begin end-to-end user journey testing the Testsigma way, right? So this is what we're going to go through today. But before we start, I'm going to take a few minutes to tell you a bit more about Testsigma, what kind of problem space we're in, and how we're trying to solve these problems. Most of us are Marvel fans. All of us have heard the line, with great power comes great responsibility. And most of our QA teams have a lot of power when it comes to approving builds that reach final users. And these builds help users solve their problems, achieve their goals. But with that, the lot of responsibility is just shared by the QA teams. They're not able to share it with others. And the reason for this kind of status quo is obviously the current test stacks do not allow democratization of the test building and automation process. And there is a skill gap, knowledge gap that exists between teams, because of which obviously other members apart from the QA teams are not able to help in this kind of process and cross the final frontier, right? So what's the solution? Solution is simple. We reduce the skill gap and try and make this entire process inclusive and democratic. Now, how does Testsigma do it? We're a complete test automation platform that simplifies the entire test lifecycle, bringing in standardized scalability without compromising speed, software quality, and delivery. Now, how do we do it and why we're different? Testing as a team sport. Using Testsigma, building a test is very, very easy. Believe me, I'm a product manager and I've started building tests myself, right? It's as easy as writing simple English. Your PMs, your BAs, your customer success guys, support guys, everybody can chip in the process and help in the automation journey using Testsigma. We have a unified ecosystem, obviously, and that's what we're here to demo. If you have a web app, you have a mobile app, you have APIs, even in mobile, you have Android and iOS. You can automate all of those applications and platforms under a single hood, under one roof. Limitless extensibility. All of us, when we're trying to perform testing, have some nuanced test cases, nuanced use cases that need a bit of tweaking in the platform or the code, right? When you want to do it. Testsigma allows its customers to do that. You can change the platform, extend it basis your nuanced use cases, and achieve your goals yourselves. Now let's move into what is end-to-end user testing, right? End-to-end, if any of us have a web app, a mobile app, customers use both of these platforms to achieve their goals, and they expect a seamless journey when they're going through or hopping through these platforms, right? That is an end-to-end user journey testing. When customer moves from your web to your mobile and back to web, they expect everything to work in a seamless fashion without any hindrances, without any hurdles. Everything to just be smooth, silky smooth, right? Now, where is end-to-end user journey testing most used? If any of us have ever used Amazon, we know while you're on your way to office or while you're in office, you open up the web, you add a couple of items in the cart, you're having your snacks or having lunch, you order the item from your mobile app. So that's 2 hops. You go from the web to the app, everything is seamless. And then when you're back home, you got the item, and in most cases, we end up returning the item, right? Because we don't like it or we don't need it. That again, you open up the mobile app or the website and then you return it. So you hopped across multiple platforms, and the user is expecting a seamless journey across these platforms. From a B2B perspective, if you take the example of Atlassian, all of us create Jiras. You create a Jira on the website, you add a comment on the web app, on your mobile app, and then you go back to the website when you're in office to kind of update the status or assign it to someone, right? So when you're hopping between these platforms across web, mobile, on Android or iOS, and back to web, everything is seamless. So that's an end-to-end user journey where a user is using multiple platforms to achieve their goals, all of which have been built by you, right? How is it being tested right now? In most cases, we have siloed teams, right? We have a web testing team, you have a mobile app testing team, you'll have, even in that, sometimes you have a team that's testing your Android app, or you have a team that's testing your iOS app. So all of these are tested independently. And when QA teams want to test an end-to-end journey like this, in our case, let's take, for example, the Amazon app, to mimic adding of the items in the cart via web and then ordering via mobile, what QA teams would do is mimic an API call that would be made from the website to add these items into a cart and then open the app, log in, and then order the items from the cart, right? So if you see, there is an inherent problem here. That's where you're not actually testing user actions in one continuous journey, chained the way the user would. And the second is obviously the skill it takes to kind of add API test cases when trying to do all of this testing. So these are inherent problems when you're trying to test across platform for an end-to-end user journey testing. Now we'll move to kind of showing how you can achieve this via Testsigma and how we can build an end-to-end user journey testing for a use case. So this is the use case that we'll be demoing today. We have a sample travel website, sort of like MakeMyTrip or Booking.com, where a user can log in and book flights. So in our use case, the first hop is when the user logs onto the website, searches for a flight, adds the passenger details, and books the flight, right? And then when they're on their way back or after a couple of days, they don't want to go there anymore. The plans have changed for whatever reason, and they want to cancel the flight. So they log into the website, they log into the app on their Android phone, check the booking detail, and cancel the same flight. Now, after 3-4 days, when you're back in your office or you're worried about, hey, did I get the money back? Did I get the refund? What's happening with that? You again log into the website in office, you open the account and you check, oh yeah, is the flight actually canceled and what's the refund status? So this is an end-to-end user journey testing, right? Where the same user is using your platform on web, on mobile, and then back to web. Seamless experience, nothing changes for them. And that's what we are here to demo how to test, right? So let me move to the Testsigma website now. All right. So on Testsigma, we support under a single project, multiple application types. Like I said, you have a web application, you can create an Android application, you can create an iOS and API application. We support all 4 types here. For our use case, because we have the hops between web and Android, that's what I've just created, but we support iOS and API as well. Inside each application, for example, we are in web, you can create test cases for your website. So in our case, it would be the booking test case. And as the QA function is, right, we have multiple test cases which you put into test suites. And those test suites are then aggregated to test plan to test multiple suites, multiple scenarios under one plan. And if the plan succeeds, your build moves forward. Basis the success or failure, you make decisions whether to push your build to production staging, restaging, whatever the case may be, right? So here I've already pre-created the test cases and test suites to save for time. And I'll show you how to use pre-created tests, which already may exist in your applications, right? For web, Android, iOS, to build an end-to-end user journey testing plan. It's reusing all those tests that are already there. So we click on plus test plan. I'm just going to call it webinar demo test plan. Click on next. Right, so here you can see Testsigma allows you to select test suites and machines for which type of application you want to execute or test on. In our use case, it's web, Android web. So the first test that I want to kind of execute is from the web application. I'm going to choose Windows, OS, browser. All of those options are there. You have multiple options for each of these, covering a whole gamut of possibilities. And the test suite that I want to select is the booking flight test suite, right? Okay, I have to kind of add this. Now, this is the first step in my end-to-end user journey testing, where the user books a flight on the website. The next is hop is on the Android, where the user is actually checking the details and canceling the flight, right? Now, this is where the magic happens. In the same test plan, you can move from like a web to an Android. So I select an Android application and I say go. You can see again, you have all this plethora of options to select which device, which Android version, select which APK file you want to execute this test suite on. In our case, because you're canceling the flight, it's a cancel flight test suite that we will execute. Add. Now, what is prerequisite? Something that I wanted to go through once we reach this step. To cancel a flight, it is obviously imperative that we book a flight before, right? Because that's the journey that we're testing. So all tests, when they execute in this environment, if I select this as the prerequisite, that's when the test suite in Android 12, Google Pixel 6 for the Android application project will execute. So by selecting the prerequisite, I'm ensuring that the correct chain of steps is followed for my user journey, right? So I click on add. The next step is obviously going back to the web and then checking verification if the flight is actually canceled or for the refund status. Oh, sorry, it's web application. Say go. We say again, whatever browser version, everything that we want to select. And the test that I'm testing this time is actually verifying if the flight that I had canceled on the mobile app is actually canceled. Obviously, the prerequisite to this is that the flight should have actually been canceled on the mobile app. So I'm going to select all the tests, this execution environment as a prerequisite. Once this execution environment executes successfully, that's when the test cases within this test suite will be executed. Next, and that's how we create the test plan. Now I have a pre-created test plan ready with results. As you can see, is the same test plan. We have the book flight, the cancel flight on the Android app, and we have the verify cancel flight. I'm going to show you the results and how it looks like once you execute it. So if we go to reports, already pre-executed these test suites for you. So if you go to test suites results, you see book flight, cancel flight, verify cancel flight. Now let's see the magic. Test cases, we have a booking flight test case. I'll show you the test case and how simple it is to write with Testsigma. It's simple, plain English. Navigate, click on login, do all of the login actions. Just click on submit, selecting the cities to and from, clicking on book now, adding all of the details for the passenger here, adding some GST numbers, passport numbers, adding my card details finally, booking the flight, and finally getting a trip ID. That's the verification text where I check if the trip ID is actually generated, right? So let's see a quick video. I'll hop through the video because it's a 3-minute video. So we can see Testsigma also records a video execution, video of every execution so that you can see the execution actually happen as it did on the cloud or on your local devices. So we're entering the password, selecting the cities. All right, this is the flight. We're going to add traveler details now. All of the details are getting added. Selecting the seat here, you can see, sorry, I skipped over that. I'll show it to you again. You can select a particular seat in the booking journey, add-ons, final payment details, and then once this is done, we'll see the final booking. Yes, so the ticket has been booked successfully. Now this happened obviously on the website. The next step is obviously in our journey is going back to the Android app and actually canceling the flight. So if we go back to our run, go back to our test suite, we can see there is a cancel flight that is being performed on the Samsung Galaxy S12. You can go here. Again, I'll just quickly show you the test case and how simple it is to write. Just launch app, tap on login, tap on email, entering a bunch of details, going to my bookings, tapping on cancel ticket, and then just verifying the ticket is canceled or not, right? It's that simple with Testsigma. See a quick video. It's a 40-second video. Yeah, the ticket here is now canceled, right? So now you see we could perform from the web to the Android app, an end-to-end journey, at least for the first two steps, to ensure that the user sees the book ticket in the app that they had actually booked on the website, and they can come to the app and actually cancel it back. Right now, the third step in our journey is when after 3-4 days, the user goes back to the website and just wants to see some refund status or actually ensure that the ticket is cancelled. So we go back to our test suites. We're verifying the cancel flight. Again, this is a web test case, right? Just show you the steps again so that, okay, here we use something called a step group, and Testsigma allows you to create step groups, which are basically repeatable steps that you want to execute multiple times, but you don't want to spend time, adding these steps for each and every test case. The basic scenario is login. For any kind of test, you first want to perform a login action and then go to the account and do other actions or other scenarios, right? So you've created a login step group and you can reuse it for any web step where you want to log in and perform some actions. So this is a step group. It opens up a lot of possibilities for reusability, reduces the effort by multifold when you're trying to perform repetitive actions. Clicking on email, going to my bookings, clicking on the cancel tab and just checking if the trip ID is correct or not. The actual cancel flight. I'm going to watch the video again. And this is on the website. This is the third step in our end-to-end user journey testing. Adding the email, log in a bit. Logins down. Now move to my bookings and check. So we can see that the same ticket is now actually cancelled. What we had performed the actions on our mobile app, you can see the same ticket is cancelled on the website as well. So this is how easy it is to build an end-to-end user journey testing with Testsigma. Test steps are very easy to write, simple plain English. We give you the videos and we allow you to hop between environments, as many as you want, to build an end-to-end user journey testing as per your scenarios, right? Any questions on, okay, on the end-to-end journey testing up till now, or I'll just proceed? Wait for 10 seconds and I'll just proceed if there are no questions. Okay, cool, no questions. So the advantages, like you all saw, right? You could actually test actual user flows, click actions, tap actions, user scenarios, all the way from dev to staging to pre-production, without needing to mimic any API calls as a part of your journey testing, to ensure that the accurate data sets are created in each environment, to ensure that your use cases and test cases pass successfully, right? Another great advantage is it enables cross-team collaborations. When you have siloed teams creating web test cases, mobile test cases, Android and iOS, anybody can come in and create a test plan for an end-to-end user journey testing scenarios the way I did, just reusing all of those pre-existing test suites, right? I could just pick up a booking test suite from web, a cancellation test suite from the app, and then verify a cancellation test suite again from the web, which is all already pre-created by those respective teams to build an end-to-end user journey testing. So the problem that we identified earlier in the call, where there was a skill gap, knowledge gap, there was no cross-team collaboration. This feature or this functionality with Testsigma allows you to bypass and cross all of these hurdles to build an end-to-end user journey testing. Other features, I just wanted to kind of reiterate those. Selecting prerequisites. When you're doing a journey testing, obviously step 2 is dependent on step 1, step 3 is dependent on step 2, because it's an actual journey, right? So that's why we allow you to select prerequisite to ensure that the chaining of steps is done accurately the way your user scenario is designed. You can add as many environments and as many platforms as you want. You can go web, Android, web. You can go web, Android, web, Android. Even 10 more does not matter if you want to do. However complex your use case or test plan is, Testsigma can support it. Obviously, the final frontier again is to schedule and run these via CI/CD or run it before a build to ensure that all of your test suites and test cases pass. Testsigma obviously supports CI/CD execution or scheduled executions, manual runs, all of those things to ensure that you get the accurate results before you proceed with pushing your builds to further environments, right, in your journey. I think that was it from me. You can reach out to testsigma.com if you want to sign up. This is my email ID. If you have any further questions, you can reach out to me. I will personally help and I will personally reply if there are any questions basis this presentation or anything else about Testsigma. But that was the presentation, and that is what we wanted to show you on how you can achieve end-to-end user journey testing across platforms, even for the most complex use cases, with ease and with great ROI when you use Testsigma very quickly. So that was it. I'll hand it over back to Lavanya if there are any questions, or if anyone has questions. I think the forum is open.
Yeah, there's one question on chat. What if we want to automate chat kind of applications where the bidirectional communication happens?
Perfect question. So yes, you can do it. If you want to do it within multiple, like I said, right, you could create test suites, you could create test cases. You're sending a chat from one app to the other where you want to do parallel testing. You can kind of do it. And obviously we're planning to obviously add on top of this end-to-end user journey testing in the future. But yes, you can do it. Do reach out to us. We'll show you how it's possible.
Devesh, a question from Emmanuel is how many hours will it take to execute this E2E scenario?
Okay, so the testing time depends on the complexity of your scenarios, right? So in my case, it was just 3 hops and like 3 or 4 tests. So it was a quick execution done in about a couple of minutes. But if your test cases have hundreds and hundreds of tests across multiple suites, multiple applications, multiple environments, 10-step user journey, obviously the execution time linearly increases. But the execution time is dependent on the number of test cases and the number of steps and complexity within the test case. So it won't be possible to give an accurate estimate, but definitely if you try Testsigma out, I think you will see that it's as fast as when you do it using automation tools. So you won't see any kind of lag there. But giving an exact time without doing the scenarios would be a difficult proposition. So yeah, with increasing complexity, time increases, obviously.
Okay. So there's one more question from Vikash. How to mimic user personas while designing E2E scenarios?
How to mimic user personas? So, okay, sorry.
If you'd like more details, if Vikash wants to explain the question,
yeah, sure.
Give some clarity to the question, please go ahead, Vikash. Okay, I think
I'll take it. I think I understand what he's trying to ask. So when it comes to a user persona, let's say for any SaaS app, right? I'm the admin versus a normal member. There are different actions that the admin can do versus a different action that the member can do, right? So when you log in, we have data-driven, we have TDP, which is called data-driven test, where you can log in using multiple user profiles, email, passwords, or anything else that you support SSO. Onto your website or your application with those persona details. And when you log into your application with that persona details, obviously all the application actions that are available to that persona became available for you to like list the rest of your tests. So that's how we can be allowed to test multiple personas. But if there is another layer to the question, I'd be happy to answer. But that was my understanding of the questions. It's very easily supported. It should not be a problem at all. Most of our customers actually have to perform these kind of tests. So yes.
Great. Rahul asks if this feature is currently in beta, Devesh.
It is not in beta. It will be available if you want. It's available to everyone. It's not a problem.
Okay. So I think there's one a question related to data-driven testing. So how does Testsigma parse data from Excel? So
we allow you to create I'd be happy to show it in another webinar, or if you reach out personally, we can show you a demo of how it works, or our website would definitely have documentation around it. But we allow you to create an almost Excel kind of view within Testsigma. It's called test data profiles, where you can add as many rows, as many columns as you want, and as many details in that. You can import an Excel into the test data profile, and we'll just pull all the details, including the column values and the row values. and you can just, all of that data will be populated, and then you can use each row as an iteration for your test case. So in our example, we logged in with, let's say, onto the website with Divesh Mehta, right? With my name, and I booked a flight, I cancel a flight. You could do the whole thing with Rahul. I'm sorry, that's the last name, Rahul's email ID and password, and you would see different details for Rahul, and you would be able to perform similar actions and see pass and fail. And you could have hundreds and thousands of such rows and test on each persona, each row the way you want to using test data profiles for the same test case.
One more question, Devesh. Is E2E user journey across web mobile app on both hybrid and native possible using Testsigma?
Yes, it's not a problem.
Okay. Let me check for more questions.
I think there's one I can see. Can we switch between API and mobile app? Yes. Every application type we support, including web, mobile, mobile. In mobile, we have Android and iOS. We have mobile web, and we have API. There are 5 application types. You can build an end-to-end user journey using all 5, 10 times also if you want. It's not a problem at all. As many hops, as many steps in your user journey across platforms that you want to build, you can build it.
Rishan asks, like, do we use mobile devices from the cloud, or can we use our own devices?
Both possible. We support Testsigma Lab, where you can use mobile devices that we provide. If you want, if you already have a Browser Stack or Sauce Labs account or any other cloud vendor, you could use your own credentials to use devices via them, or you could also connect your own local devices and execute tests on them. We have all 3 possibilities open for our customers.
Awesome. So do we have more questions on the E2E feature or anything related to Testsigma that you'd like to know? You can feel free to ping us. There's one more question, Devesh. Does Testsigma Lab provide some execution minutes for trying out, or is it paid?
So the trial version is free. You could sign up and you get a 30-day trial, if I'm not wrong. And within that trial, we allow you to have like you have 2 parallel licenses, and you can execute tests on the trial version. If you hit any limits or you have more complex use cases, obviously we have an option where you can reach out to us, and then we can work with you to kind of give you more resources for your use cases to ensure that your trial is successful. That's our major aim, to ensure that your trial is successful. So we are with you in the entire journey. Should not be a problem at all, but I would encourage you to sign up and just test our product out and see if the resources are sufficient for you. If not, then we could obviously have a discussion. But there's no limit as such, apart from like a parallel execution.
Okay, so there's a question. When you have complex tests with hundreds of test steps, does it matter if you create one complex test case with many step groups, or is it recommended to separate them to improve efficiency of the test overall?
So step groups let me take it a different way. All right. You step groups are something that you should create if the same bunch of steps, like in our case, there were 10 steps for login, is something that you want to continuously reuse across test cases, right? So that you don't have to sit down and write them again. Just saves a couple of minutes, maybe sometimes more if there are more complex, and if the step group includes 100 of steps. In terms of efficiency of execution, would not matter, because step group is just a kind of a wrapper around those 10 steps so that we can provide you reusability. When it comes to execution, those 10 steps in the test case versus those same test steps in the step groups would take the same time, because it does not affect the execution in any way. Yes, if you use test groups and you have hundreds of steps, 300, 400, 500, it will help you improve the readability of your test case manifold, right? Because like in my case, you saw I had 12 steps and I just named it login. So if I open the test case, and I can just see, okay, we're just doing login inside of this, or we're canceling a flight inside of this. So it will help you improve the readability of your test manifold, but it will not affect the execution time at all.
Awesome. Okay, so 200 automated testing minutes per month is given for trial. Okay.
Sure. If you need more, like I said, right, you could reach out to us and we'll definitely help you if those resources are not sufficient, like I said. Yes.
So Emmanuel has a follow-up question, Devesh. So the test shouldn't be slower if the test is bigger. It would take more time according to each step.
Correct. 100 step versus 200 steps. depending on what you're trying to achieve in each step, ideally a 200-step test case would take more time. Step grouping should not affect the execution time at all. You're right, Emmanuel, 100%.
So I think that's it, Devesh.
Hopefully we'll see you guys in the next webinar as well. We have a lot of webinars when they show up. I think they're great features, and we'll be happy to answer your questions and understand more if there is something we can add to those features as we move ahead in our product journey as well. So thank you from my side as well.
Great. Thanks, Devesh, and thanks everyone for joining in. Thank you, and we'll meet you in the next one.
Bye, guys. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.